If you have been following this series on financial econometrics, we have already built a strong foundation together. First, we understood what correlation really means in finance. Then we broke one of the biggest myths in statistics, that correlation is not equal to causation. After that, we discussed which correlation method to use, Pearson, Spearman, or Kendall, and when each one makes sense. We also stepped into the world of regression and understood what a regression model actually is. In this video, we will bring everything together. Because learners often learn correlation in one chapter and regression in another. They calculate both, they memorize formulas, but they never truly understand how these two tools are connected. Are they competing tools? Is regression just an advanced version of correlation? Or do they serve completely different purposes? This is exactly what we are going to find out in this video. We are going to uncover how different parts of the financial world are secretly connected, and we will do it using two incredibly powerful tools, correlation and regression. Now, here is a question you hear all the time. Do stock prices actually fall when interest rates go up? I mean, does a change in one thing really cause a predictable change in another? Okay, so the first thing you absolutely have to get is that in finance, nothing happens in isolation. You have got interest rates, stock prices, and inflation. They are all part of this giant interconnected web, and finding those hidden threads that link them all together, that is the real key to spotting risks and opportunities. So our first tool, our first piece of the puzzle is something called correlation. It tells you if two things seem to be related or not. It points you in the right direction. Let us take an example with some actual data. Here we have got 5 years of interest rates side by side with a stock market index. Now, just by glancing at the numbers, you might already start to see a bit of a pattern here. As that first column goes down, what's happening to the second one? And when you plot the data, the pattern just jumps right out at you. As the interest rates step down year after year, the stock index climbs higher and higher. See that they are moving in opposite direction. This is a perfect example of what we call negative correlation. So, what are we actually talking about when we say correlation? Well, officially it is a statistical measure. But actually, all of it is a score that tells us how strongly two things are linked and if they tend to move together in a straight line or not. We are just looking for a consistent relationship. Now, correlation may be positive or negative. When two things move in the same direction, say the more you spend on advertisement, the more sales you get. They go up together, right? They are positively correlated. Then you have got negative correlation, which is our example. When one goes down, the other goes up. Here you go. Do not let this formula scare you. You are never going to have to calculate this by hand. Any software will do it for you. All it does is take your data, run it through this machine and give out one single number, R, that tells us the strength and direction of the relationship. That number is the clue we are looking for. But this is where things get really interesting. You know, finding that first clue, that correlation. It is a great start, but it is not the end of the investigation. It tells us that two things are connected, but it does not give us nearly enough information to make a confident prediction. We have got to go deeper. So why is it not enough? If we already know interest rates and stocks are connected, why can't we just stop there? What piece of the puzzle are we still missing? This visualizes the huge leap we need to take. Correlation is just an association. It just says that stocks tend to fall when rates rise. But we need to cross a bridge to get to an actual explanation, which sounds more like for every 1% hike in rates, stocks fall by this specific amount. See the difference? It is about quantifying the impact, and that bridge leads us straight to our next, much more powerful tool, regression analysis. This is what lets us build an actual model, not just to describe the relationship, but to really analyze its impact and make specific estimates. Let us break this down because it is the most important distinction. Correlation just describes, but regression analyzes. Correlation is the what, regression is the how much. This is the tool that finally puts a number on that relationship, and that is absolutely essential for making real-world decisions. So how does regression actually do this? Well, what it does is it draws the best possible straight line. We call it a trend line right through the middle of all our data points. And that line is represented by this simple little equation. That line is our model's best guess for the relationship. And inside that little equation, there is one number that is the absolute star of the show. It is the Greek letter beta. Beta is the magic number. It quantifies everything, telling us exactly how much y is expected to change when x changes by 1. It gives you a specific actionable insight once you have crossed that bridge from correlation to regression. Okay, so we have built our model. We have got this amazing specific answer, but are we done? No, we will have to double check the evidence. How much faith can we actually put in our model? Is this a strong explanation or is it kind of flimsy? To answer that, we use a metric called R squared. The easiest way to think about it is like a grade for our model on a scale from 0 to 1. It tells us what percentage of the movement in our y variable is explained by the movement in our x variable. It is basically a goodness of fit score. So suppose our model gives an R squared of 0.75. That is actually pretty solid. What it is telling us is that a full 75% of all the ups and downs in the stock market, at least in our little model, can be explained by what is happening with interest rates. The other 25% is just noise and other factors we did not include in our model. But you have to remember this. There are some major rules here. A higher R squared is better for sure, but it does not prove causation. Just because two things move together does not mean one is causing the other. That is the number one trap in all of analysis, and even a super high R squared does not mean your predictions will be perfect. So let us just take a step back and look at the journey we have been on. We started with a simple question. We found a clue using correlation. Then we built a predictive model with regression. And finally, we checked our work and tested the strength of our evidence with R squared. So you now have the fundamental toolkit that analysts use every single day. You can start to look past the headlines and actually measure the relationships that drive the markets. So my question to you is, what hidden connection are you going to go explore first? Let me know in the comments.